FL Studio.
You recording?
Yep. Hold on. It's going. We're recording. One of them.
Alright, so we'll just do the questions and we'll just do them one at a time. We'll edit Griffin out.
Right.
And then just shoot some B-roll shit.
Brawl.
Brawl. We'll shoot some brawl.
Do you want to do one question at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can even use the collaborative in between each question if you want.
Nah, alright.
You know?
What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Question 1. Question 1.
Did it break?
Yeah, of course it did. Oh, it came unscrewed. You can go ahead, because we can edit that out.
Alright, okay. Is there a moment from your childhood where you saw something that blew your mind and started you down your artistic path?
Probably several thousand things that blew my mind. Like every time I walked into a video store and saw the horror and sci-fi section of the VHS covers, and my father used to get Heavy Metal magazine, reading like Richard Corbin's stuff and Bernie Wrightson. And I think maybe when I started getting interested in pop art was when I saw Ralph Bakshi's movie American Pop. I liked all that rotoscoping and stuff, and I liked basically all the rotoscoping and things he did. So as I grew older and I stopped hand drawing and got more into other stuff, I incorporated some, nowadays, try to incorporate like rotoscoped elements. And so yeah, probably everything I try to do is from the 70s or 80s. Well, the biggest thing that blew my mind was in '86 when I read The Dark Knight Returns. And
Balls.
Question 2.
At what age did you start drawing?
4 or 5 years old, watching TV. My mom's making grilled cheese for lunch, and I mean, I specifically remember. I don't know what day it was. I don't know how old I was, but I specifically remember a day just drawing. And I used to get mad when my mom would say, I'd show her something I drew, and generally be giant robot or monster based, and she'd say it was cute. They used to tick me off. But love you, Mom. But yeah, young. It's always been in my life. It's always been something I've done. And you know, like in school, a kid would be like, "Hey, draw me a He-Man," and I'd get a quarter so I could, you know, get a snack at lunch, you know, from the kid. Or that kind of happened often, you know. So young.
Hey.
Alright, I'm just going to do this. Question 3.
You didn't always make your income as an artist. What made you want to begin an art career?
Basically, even when I worked at regular jobs for 19 years of my life, I was always drawing, and like I worked at a car dealership, and it was like a small family, and something would happen in one department, and people would come to me from that department and say, "Hey, this happened. Draw a caricature of it," Or like one time, this real character we worked with tried to rip off the Roach Coach guy and wouldn't pay him, and the Roach Coach guy grabbed him, and a button popped off of his shirt. So of course everybody, "You gotta draw a picture of that." It's always been there, and I just kind of eased into, like 10 years ago, starting to work for newspapers and magazines and stuff like that, writing too at that time, doing movie reviews. I'd bring my kids to the movies and stuff, and I got to see some stuff like Batman Begins in the theater, Revenge of the Sith, and write. It wasn't a major metropolitan. It was a Taunton Gazette. It wasn't a major metropolitan newspaper. I didn't work for gigantic magazines, but provided an income, and I just started to realize that I kind of like the freedom of doing it, kind of being on my own, earning a living that way rather than doing what I was doing before, which I had to do. We all have to work, but it's just after a while my heart wasn't in it, and I just started realizing, and people at the jobs would be like, "Why do you work here? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that?" And why aren't you drawing? Why aren't you, you know? So maybe that's sunk in too. I don't know. It's one of those hard questions to answer, I guess.
Okay.
Question 3?
Mm-hmm. That was question 2, wasn't it?
That was question 4. I think.
No, that was question 3.
All right. No, wait.
Question 4.
Question
4.
Question 4.
What inspires and influences you, be it artwork, music, books, etc.?
All of them. Everything. Driving down the street inspires me. Even the bad stuff inspires me to not do the bad stuff. The shitty stuff that comes out. Well, a lot of what inspires me for a long time now is going back, and I'm not really a fan of modern comics. I wish I was, and I know I'm in the minority, but I like to go back and read stuff like I have Kirby's run on Black Panther. Like, I go back and I look at those colors and everything. They're eye-popping, ridiculous colors, especially with nowadays printing techniques. And I look at that stuff. I look at a lot of the old, Where Monsters Dwell and things like that, and stuff that's colored with halftones. Nowadays, that's basically what I look for. Any art, pretty much, I appreciate, even if I deem it horrible or something I wouldn't do. But daily, I generally see something where I'm like, whoa, that's an awesome idea, or awesome execution, or based on ideals that I like to represent in what I do. And I'm every day, even by friends of mine that do art, do music. I'm inspired by them. I grew up with a tight group of friends. We've always done artistic stuff, and they've inspired me. And it's just inspiration's everywhere. I guess I've been on record mode for almost 40 years, but so everything's kind of gotten in there somehow. That I remember the theme, the facts of life, is horrible. I don't have that brain space back. But yeah, I'm inspired by a lot of things, I guess.
All right, hang on 1 second.
Question 5.
How does your artwork reflect your personality?
How's my artwork reflect my personality? I'm a kind of, I guess, not really a typical human being in most respects. I'm kind of an odd pair. I'm a mental platypus almost. I feel like sometimes, so I guess I try to put that across and having contrasting things you wouldn't normally think belong together, or even in like some of the music I've gotten to do, or done with friends. I always try to push to add the extra little bit that's maybe, that extra oddness that is maybe eye-catching or provokes you to think about something in a way you haven't before. I like to daily try to provoke myself to think differently about life, and I'm pretty hard on myself about that, actually. Trying to rethink how I think about things daily and my attitudes towards things and people, and I just try to put that across. Like you'll see over time the different modes of work I get into. It's almost like in a wave, because of influences that I'm kind of immersing myself in at the time, or things that are happening, or just basically the discipline of trying to get better at something. I kind of will do things in drips and drabs. Like, I'm answering this horribly. But I'll just try to do things like to pair up things that don't naturally belong, but because they're polar opposites, they belong because they're the opposite of each other. They're the perfect opposites that maybe may not make sense. And I just like to maybe jar people's and myself's thinking about things a little bit, mix it up a little. Yeah, we'll have to edit the shit out of that one.
No, whatever. What are we on? 6?
Yep.
Question 6.
Without giving away too much of your thought process, are there any strict guidelines you follow when it comes to art?
Guidelines? Well, I think anytime you create anything, it's just me, or I don't know, I can't speak for anybody else, but when I try to create something, the rules might already be set up in my head as to how I'm going to approach something, but definitely along the way, even if you're just kind of messing with an idea that's not fully formed, along the way rules will kind of become apparent, and just based on past experience, and also with me based on maybe I'm using a kind of older technique they would have used, or an old like layout type, or things like that. I try to adhere to those, like grindhouse posters from the 70s, or even beyond that, sleaze posters from the 70s, which were basically, a one-color poster with a black and white picture. It's got its own rules. So if I'm trying to do something that's oriented like a sleaze poster, I would do it probably not a lot of colors in a black and white picture, and I might put my own elements in there to kind of mix it up, but I think anytime you create something, you have to, if you care about it and you're not just doing it blindly, without any thought behind it, you kind of, these rules become apparent to you, and you kind of have to stick to them, or you don't really get anything vital out of it yourself or create anything. I don't think, because I've done that before. I've done things where I was just monkeying around, and it looks like monkeying around. There's no thought behind it and stuff. So I like to set up rules and follow them, even though it might be a twisted logic. Maybe other people don't understand, or I don't know. I'm sure every artist feels that way, But yeah, definitely you have to follow rules if you want to create something, even if they're self-imposed rules,
Questions?
Question 7.
You've worked for a lot of publications and websites and different odd jobs. Where can people see your work?
Well, online, obviously. Online's been the biggest leveling field there's been in, I don't know, maybe ever, for the exchange of ideas, for people being able to stand up and say something that they would have said before, but they would have said it to crickets. Nobody was paying attention before 1994 when the internet started, blowing up, and there were avenues set up then that a guy like me never would have been able to attain or get to those avenues and make relationships with people that afford me other work and things like that. Those didn't exist. So definitely number one, the internet's been the one place you can see a lot of my stuff. Even when I'm not working doing a gig, or paid job, or I'm doing something. Just like last Halloween, I did 30 days of Halloween, a poster a day, for 30 days. I did it. I stuck to it, and I just did it. I did it for no other reason other than I thought it was fun and cool to do. So the internet's chock full of my stuff, but there are other places like just magazines I pop up in. Black Clock, which is out of Cal Arts, was cool enough to basically have a whole issue devoted to alternate universe posters and movies and films. They had a whole alternate timelines and stuff written out, and it was just basically based off the kernel of an idea I had, and just things like that pop up. So you can see my work, a lot of different print resources and stuff. Did a kids book years ago before I really started getting into poster art and stuff, and although I used a lot of the same techniques and things, the kids book's still available. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there. I've really not stopped since I really starting 10 years ago. So, but definitely the internet, I'd say number one. I mean, it's just, I try to flood it. I try to flood it every day, like the Churlet.
Hang on one second. 8.
Can people buy your work, and where?
Again, online. Yeah, my work's widely available, online from me and my site. But I recently paired up with a company called walls360.com, which is, they have a unique product. It's they're posters, but they're made out of this super polymer that, you know, it's the same stuff Venom's made out of or something. It's got tiny hooks on the back. It's indestructible material and it sticks right on your wall. So they've recently opened up a little online gallery of my work that's available to giant sizes, and they picked a lot of hand drawn poster work and stuff that I've done rather than photo based and stuff like that. There's a place to get it. Some stuff. It's just you don't have to root very far online to see, you know, where you can get stuff that I've done. But I try to, you know, am trying to be more proactive doing things like going to conventions. Like we have Comic-Con coming up. The website Sock Talk is sponsoring me they're sharing a table with me. Alder, you know, they invited me. Then in October I go to Comic-Con New York for cultural compulsive disorder. Is sponsoring me there, and I don't know, just I made friends, and we all kind of thought, you know, I don't know, why don't we join forces and try to, you know, get my stuff out and help promote them, and I don't know, it's whether hopefully but more available in the future, you know. But I've done some book covers for people and stuff; those are all available. I don't know, it's ever changing. I mean, it could change to, you know, in an hour from now what's available. So, and it often does. I mean, so.
On 9.
Yep.
Question 9.
Do you see a day where you'll retire from artwork?
No. Why would I would no. I wouldn't care if I was making nothing. The money's not an issue. It's it's, you know, some people wake up, they do the morning crossword. Some people wake up, walk their dog. I personally have cats. I don't have to walk them. I get up in the morning. I just sometime that day I have to create something. I don't know what it is. It's just conditioning over the last, you know, 10 plus years of really trying to discipline myself to become a better artist just for the sake of being a better artist, just for the sake of, you know, creating things, you know, hopefully when I'm 80 that mean something, you know, even if it's stupid, even if it's a stupid meaning, you know. I feel a compulsion and a drive to just constantly turn over in my mind these little puzzles of, because when you create something, it's not, to me, I mean, sometimes I have a fully formed idea, but more often than not, I have the kernel of an idea, and then you've got to somehow turn that kernel of an idea into, you know, nurture it until it's a full-blown thing, you know, and it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle that's fun to figure out for me, and it consumes hours of my day and of my life, but I don't count any of it that I sit there, just as I don't count any of the time I spend with my kids or my wife or my friends. I don't count that time ever, even if I just am learning how to do something on the computer or a new technique to do this or that. I just never see it as wasted time. I'm really, it makes me happy, you know, it makes me extremely happy. And notoriety, and, you know, as little notoriety as I have, or anything that comes with being well known for that, or for what you do, or any of that aside, I like getting up in the morning and starting to turn over in my head, what am I going to do today, you know? It might be a busy day, I might not get to it till 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, but chances are something's getting made that day. If I don't have a job, I have my own ideas I like to get across. I like to have daily content on my blog, so I'm ever looking to just kind of beef up my portfolio, you know, whether it's a client or whether it's just my own satisfaction, or whether I think it's something a friend will think is funny, or whether it's something, you know. What was the question?
Do you see a day where you'll retire from?
No, I'll never retire. No, I'll die when I die. I'll retire, but I could, you know, knock on wood, wherever wood is. I think that's fake wood, but I lose a hand, I'm still gonna, I'll shove a pencil in the nub, I'm not gonna stop. There's just no good reason to stop, especially after all this time. It just not really an upward struggle. It's never been a struggle. I've always, I've kind of caught a couple awesome breaks, and again, it's not because of that. It's not the it's like the old saying. It's not the destination. It's the journey. I enjoy daily. Like people, I'm sure enjoy working out. Obviously, I don't work out. So it's like maybe that's what they get out of it. A long distance runner will feel the endorphins and stuff like that. I guess I don't sit around all endorphined out when I do artwork, but it definitely enhances my life and colors my life because I almost nowadays, just after conditioning myself so long, just to create stuff, like my bed's on fire, I've almost conditioned myself to see the world as just always possible influence for what I could do that day, or I go to the store and I hear an old song, and it reminds me of this or that. It's just I'm thankful for those little tiny instances of inspiration and stuff, and to retire would just to be like, that's like, are you going to retire being in love with your wife for me? It's like, no, it's just, it's not going to happen. It's, I don't know, it enhances my life, I guess. Long story long.
All right.
Question 10.
Question 10.
Where do you hope to be, and what do you hope to accomplish, if anywhere or anything?
What?
Where do you hope to be, and what do you hope to accomplish?
I'm kind of accomplishing what I set out to accomplish. I mean, I'm in the middle of it. I hope to be at 80 years old, doing pictures for my grandkids, or drawing caricatures of them, and Grandpa, draw me, like how my kids were. My kids were, they were a huge influence on me getting into artwork as much as I did, because I would draw with them all the time, and they're both artists, I guess where I want to be is happy and fulfilled in life, and I feel that way. I feel like I have a purpose in life. I've kind of am becoming what I do, which is what you're supposed to do. I just didn't do it as a dock worker or a guy who does tattoos. I would fuck tattoos up left and right. I could draw it on a paper for you to go get one, but it would look like a freaking roadmap if I sat down and tattoo you. It's just I don't know. I'd like to obviously be a master artist at some point, of what I do, I guess, or just a master artist in general. I try to do different disciplines and things, hand drawing or, photo manipulation type stuff, and just poster art or layouts of things. I'm generally a one picture, one story guy, and if I can master just that, by the time I'm 90 or 80 or however long we're going to live with the cybernetic stuff they're going to give us, I hope to be where I am now, but just, I guess, more happy, and older and wiser, and but I kind of feel like I'm at where I want to be. It's just, obviously there's things, not everything always lines up, but pretty much I'm pretty happy, and I'm on my way to being where I want to be, I guess. So, I don't know, does that answer your question? What do I want? We should follow it up with one last question, like an ender question.
Any last words?
Yeah, any last words? Like an any last words one?
Yeah.
We do that.
Let me just change the shot a little bit. This one's just going to be a close-up of your face.
Yeah.
The last one. I got
It's
it.
going to be like that Dirk Diggler movie.
Yeah.
That they
She's
made.
got the touch.
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
Where he's like, it's like Napoleon.
Okay, whenever.
Whips off his glasses.
Last question. Chink, 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 chink.
Um,
Any last words?
my last words would be, look at my stuff, enjoy it. Hopefully, you enjoy it. You know, 1% or 1% says has said about certain things I did. You know, in the past years. They're very tiny. Said it sucks, but hey, you know what? I learned from them too. You know, because you know, obviously, if 1% of 1% says, you know, what I do sucks, maybe a part of my brain's got to be like, well, they don't get it, but also another part of my brain's like, well, maybe there's some, maybe I could tighten up my skills. I don't know, but I guess my last words would be, just try to do what you love in life. Appreciate the people around you that help you. You know, everybody does it with help. You know, I don't think enough people give everybody else credit for the help that they get. Like this thing being shot right here. You know, and just, you know, try to chill out. You know, I try to chill out. I had a horrible temper, but over the years, just I think partially to do with my work and just the fact that I've kind of risen to an occasion that I set for myself, that, you know, just try to be happy. You know, don't let shit bother you, and especially don't let money or what you're not doing right, or you're not, how far along you are, or that's all bullshit. You know, just try to do what you think is right and what makes you happy without infringing on other people, and just try to incorporate that into how you deal with everybody in your life. And that's what I do with the artwork. You know, I obviously do it because I like to make people happy, and I've seen that it makes people, you know, happy. I'm not saying they're you know, wah, you know, but you know, they have nice things to say, which is cool, you know, and they see that there's thought behind it. I guess just try to, I try to be like that. I don't know, kids, just try to live your dreams. Hey, we want to do that slow one, or I can do it right now. Oh, you got to pan in on me though.
Yeah, I don't know how to pan fucking slow with that thing.
Oh, you could do it digitally though. In Vegas.
Yeah.
So
You want to try it like that? Hang on, I'll try it both ways.
All right.